weird and possibly interesting, you be the judge of that happened to me many years ago was when film producer Don Murphy called me a Welsh Now, he's right about the Welsh part, but I'm kind of hoping he was wrong about the other part. You might be thinking, firstly, why did film producer Don Murphy call me a Welsh And secondly, how the hell did I even get into that situation in the first place? Well, maybe you're also thinking, who the hell is Don Murphy? It could be possible. Don Murphy, for those who don't know, is a rather successful film producer, if not a slightly obnoxious fellow, as it turns out. He's the producer of films such as Natural Born Killers. He produced all of the Transformers movies and the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I am probably the only person on the planet who actually likes that film, rather annoyingly, because he was the producer of it. But it goes back to in the early days of the early 2000s, when back then I owned a domain name, and I still do, actually, because I was very into Transformers back then. I was very into websites, as I am now. I bought a load of domain names, such as thetransformers.net and thetf.net for Transformers, and transformersthemovie.com and transformersthemovie.co.uk. And I made a load of websites about Transformers. I had several different Transformers websites, and I earned a bit of affiliate income off them as well, selling Transformers toys, DVDs, that sort of thing. People would go to the websites, click on the links, and they'd buy stuff from, like Amazon or other toy shops, and I'd get free stuff. I'd get free toys as well, sent to me by some toy companies. But what happened was, when the Transformers movie was being made by Paramount back in, when was it, 2007, I think it was, I had an email from a solicitor. Now, it's not like the usual communication I get from a solicitor where I'm being threatened or told I'm doing something wrong and they're going to sue me. No, this was actually quite a friendly email from a solicitor saying something along the lines of, we're acting on behalf of our client. We would like to know if you would be up for selling the domain name transformersthemovie.com. I thought, that's interesting. I wonder who their client is. And I did a little bit of digging into the solicitor and who it was. And it turns out their client was Paramount Pictures, the company that was associated with producing the film Transformers. And they wanted the domain name for the movie. And I thought, well, I've had this domain a long time. I've had it probably, now, was it 2007? I'd had it for probably 6-7 years. But the problem was, because back then Transformers hadn't existed in some kind of, physical, real environment. It was all animated. It was all cartoons. People were very excited to know what the Transformers were going to look like in a live-action film. As a consequence, the search volume, because what I do is digital marketing, it's all about the search. The search volumes for Transformers live-action movie, Transformers movie, were particularly high. And transformersthemovie.com, which was my domain name, was ranking rather well on Google. Number 1, in fact. And I had something called Google AdSense on that website, so it was earning money from people clicking through to the website and then clicking on ads going off somewhere else. And it was actually at one point during 2007, I think it was, earning over $4,000 a month just on ad clicks. And that's a lot of money, $4,000 a month. At the time, that was about £3,200, £3,300, something like that. That was more than I was earning in my job. So, I thought this digital marketing thing, piece of piss. This affiliate thing, piece of piss. I'm going to be earning this money for the rest of my life. And obviously, it didn't quite almost transform. It didn't quite transpire that way. The demand for Transformers the movie images sort of disappeared and nobody was really bothered what they looked like anymore because the films weren't very good. But at the time, it was making a lot of money. So I had this email from basically a lawyer representing Paramount Pictures asking, do you want to sell this domain name? And I essentially thought, well, I'll let them have it, sure. I don't own Transformers. It's not my thing, is it? So what I did was I replied back to them and said, I'm willing to sell the domain name to you, but it's worth quite a bit to me at the moment. So I made them an offer on what they could buy it for. And I genuinely can't remember what that was. I think It probably was about 3, maybe 4 months worth of revenue. Maybe it was like $10,000-$15,000, something like. I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure. But I got a reply back from them. Again, it was very, 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 very polite. It was along the lines of, well, unfortunately, that's more than we were willing to pay for it. We're going to go another way this time. And they ended up buying the domain name transformersmovie.com, which they still have now and is still the domain name for the Transformers movie. So transformersmovie.com. I had transformersthemovie.com, which at the time was based on the original 1986 Transformers the Movie animated film. You know, the best Transformers movie and the only decent Transformers movie, with the exception of Bumblebee now, which is quite good. But the others got progressively worse as they went on. The Last Night was absolutely terrible. But they ended up buying that domain name. They didn't go with transformersmovie.com, so I've still got the domain name now. I thought that would be the end of it. However, Don Murphy, the producer, didn't think that would be the end of it. Don Murphy, the producer, got into a little bit of a tizzy about it. For some reason, he got involved. He found out who I was, and he, on his own website, where he's got his own forum with all of the people who crawl up his arse and live there, which he calls his stooges. And they all pander to everything he says, and they're proper sycophants. You know, it doesn't matter what he says, they'll just go, oh, brilliantly, well said, Don, brilliant, Don, you're the best, Don, fantastic, Don, we love you, Don, Don, please give me your love juice, I want it, Don. I'm getting a bit disgusting now, because I am getting a bit annoyed by this. But they're all sycophants to Don. He posts whatever he wants on this website, and he posted on there and mentioned me by name, and he linked to my website, thetransformers.net, and he essentially accused me of trying to steal money from the film, to capitalise on the film, and there was also a leak of a trailer for the film, or some sort of footage came out for the film, that he also accused me of. I had somehow stolen this from I presume the studio in California where they were actually editing it, even though I lived in Cwmbran, South Wales at the time, as you can tell by my accent. You can't tell by my accent, but yeah, Don Murphy on his website. This guy's a thief. This guy's stolen the trailer. This guy's stealing money from the film, and he said to his stooges, and I quote, "He is a thieving Welsh c***. Go and send him some pork." And to translate, when Don Murphy says send him some pork, what he basically means is go to this guy's website and troll him. Go to his website and troll him. And I ended up getting messages on the forum. I ended up getting emails. I actually started getting phone calls as well to my home, because you can quite easily trace the domain name and who owns it and find contact details for the person who owns it. And I was subjected to, I would call a hate smear campaign for a period of several weeks, thanks to this utter prick who just happens to be a hugely successful film producer, deciding that I was a thieving Welsh and I deserved to be trolled. Now, it's quite ironic. I've checked out, before I did this podcast, I checked out Don Murphy's film credits, and one of the films he was making just about 2 years before then was called Bully. Bully. That's right, Don. Bully. Which is what you are. You were kind of a pioneer in online trolling, in online bullying. You picked somebody out who had done nothing to you, had done nothing wrong, had not interacted with you in any way, and you had subjected them to an online bullying campaign where you sent all of your stooges, as you call them, to their website to harass them. And that is Don Murphy. Now, I can say this without any fear of being sued by Don, or without any fear of any sort of repercussions by Don, because what I'm saying is all true. And it is all very easy to prove. All of this stuff exists on the Internet Archive, for example, on the Wayback Machine. You can go onto the Internet Archive and you can see examples of what Don Murphy has said. There are screenshots of what Don Murphy said, of what he said to his stooges and what he told them to do. It's even referenced on the TF Wiki, which is the Transformers Wiki, about what Don Murphy did and why he did it to me. Now, the one on the TF Wiki doesn't mention him accusing me of stealing the trailer. It just mentions him accusing me of stealing profits from the film, as though I was somehow capitalising on the film that he had coming out. When I remind you, this was 2007. I bought that domain name, transformersthemovie.com, back in, it's either 2000 or 2001. A long time before he decided they were going to make a film. I bought that domain name because of my love of Transformers the movie, the 1986 animated film. Not some rather not particularly good film that came out in 2007. It wasn't rubbish. It wasn't crap. It was disappointing. It should have been a hell of a lot better than it was, but it wasn't shit. The following movie was a bit shitter. The one after that was a bit shitter. And then Age of Extinction was a bit shitter. And The Last Night is probably the worst, not just the worst Transformers film, the worst movie I have ever seen in my bloody life. It's absolute crud. Bumblebee, pretty good. But then Michael Bay wasn't involved in directing Bumblebee. He just directed all the others. That is Don Murphy. That is why Don Murphy called me a thieving Welsh. And that is why I don't particularly have much time for the man. So Don Murphy, if you are listening to this, and you do like to check out your own press and your own publicity, hello, how are you doing? I didn't steal anything from you. I didn't steal anything from the film. And I had that domain name years before you had even heard of Transformers. So the next time you try to create an online bullying or an online smear campaign against somebody, maybe think twice about it, because it's not cool, it's not okay, and it really makes you come across as a bit of a dickhead. I've been Darren. You've been listening to the Engaging Marketeer podcast. Thank you very much for listening. If you would like to give me a subscribe or a follow on whatever platform you're doing this on, I would really appreciate it. And if you could leave me a 5-star review, that would be fantastic as well.